There we go. Let's try that. Let's try that. Sorry, I got a new setup over here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if y'all have sound now. Let's let everybody catch up real quick. Again, thanks for everybody for letting me know about no sound. Awesome. I'm good. All right. Let's kick this thing off again. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do greatly, greatly appreciate everybody coming here. I see 5 of y'all wonderful people here on YouTube and about 5 more on LinkedIn. I know it's a Sunday evening, so I do greatly appreciate everything. My name is Eric Taylor. For those who don't know, I am the owner and CISO, Chief Forensic Operator here at Barricade Cyber Solutions. And today I want to talk to you really about, the move of cashless society and how ransomware could potentially impact it. When you're in info security, you always try to look at the writing on the walls. We're seeing a lot of stuff, that's out there. And I want to talk about this for a few moments. We're going to spend 5-10 minutes on this topic. And I want to leave you some things to ponder about, right? I want you to think about what really happened. So to kind of lay this thing up a little bit, everybody's going around, everybody sees this in a cashless society. We're starting to see where a lot of banks have been getting a lot of backlash about not accepting even cash as a deposit. Even before the timeline of COVID seems to be the international timeline for everything. It was a before or after COVID, but even before COVID, I remember renting from a family member's and making their mortgage payments and stuff like that. And I would have to go to Wells Fargo to make a cash deposit. They wouldn't accept cash as a deposit. So I always had to make a cashier's check from my bank that I was at, take it over there, and then they would accept it as a deposit. It was really, really crazy. I was like, and there's even more and more banks, JP Morgan Chase, a lot of your larger chains are becoming more and more to a point where they will not go accept cash, to the point where even when you're going to, your Walmart, um, your Home Depot, your Lowe's, a lot of them have more self checkouts that are credit card only, and only 1 or 2 of them are doing cash. So we are seeing this trend of a cashless society. We have a message in here that cash no longer is king, and that's exactly right. When we grew up, I'm going to date myself, but I was born in '77, so we have the one true generation that was around before technology is seeing it being adopted and coming in. We always grew up that cash was king. We never borrowed for anything except for those big purchases like your house and things of that nature. And cash always was the best way to get a deal on anything, right? Um, Manuel, we're going to talk about that, right? Even in a cashless society, gold, silver, precious metals that still exist. And we're going to pose this, Emmanuel Dark. We're going to pose this as a possible solution, but stick with me. I do see y'all. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Let me know what you think about what I think in the comments. I do greatly appreciate it. I do go back in and check those out. please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel if you're there. If you're part of the Simply Cyber squad, definitely consider that. And do me a favor, if you found this conversation or any of our conversations interesting and enjoyable, please share it with somebody. Help me spread the word about these type of things. And with that, let's go ahead and get to the first topic and kind of really lay up what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to flip this knob and this knob. Exactly. Let me know if that's a little bit low for everybody. Again, messing with a new setup here, so still trying to tweak things off, tweak things around a little bit. But this brings us up a very interesting situation. This is probably the third or fourth incident that we've seen this. We've got one case that's ongoing right now. We've been called to, and talked about one other case. Not this one. This one's definitely a pretty big one as well. But what if you're so one thing to know that I didn't know even earlier this year was a lot of the ATMs are actually casually just said, did y'all not hear the article at all? We may have to go back to the old school way of doing this thing, ladies and gentlemen. Let me kick this off one more time. Y'all still don't hear that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, all right. Let me take this thing down. I know a quick and easy fix for this. I'm so sorry for that. Let me just stop that. Let me do this. Again, thank you so much for your grace and patience with this. This will work this time. Go back to the tried and true method, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this one more time. Let me actually turn this down because I may blast everybody's ears out. All right, here we go.
In recent news, about 60 credit unions are facing significant outages due to a ransomware attack on ongoing operations, a cloud services provider owned by credit union technology firm Trellance. The National Credit Union Administration has confirmed the incident, affecting numerous credit unions and their members. Federal law enforcement has been notified, and investigations are ongoing. Business owners and executives in the financial sector are advised to heighten cybersecurity measures to safeguard against such threats.
All right. So yeah, like I was saying, we have one case that's ongoing right now where we've been brought in for something like this. Um, I had a conversation with another one, not this one in particular. Um, and one thing that I've learned through these things that you would think when you go into your bank and you would use your ATM that that ATM was managed, owned, and controlled by the your bank that you're actually engaged with. But come to find out, you're not. It's not that way at all. And it's actually much like an MSP standpoint, it's these ATMs are managed. Well, I guess they're owned by the bank, but they're managed and the supervisions and stuff like that are handled by a third party person um, or organization, things of that nature. So being able to take down a ATM and not the bank is definitely a newer thing that I've learned this year. So it's very, very interesting, and a lot of I haven't seen because we're in the South, so a lot of folks are tuning in potentially all over the U.S. or even internationally. But one thing I didn't know about was ITMs, which is interactive telemachine, where you can actually talk to someone on a video conference while you're using the ATM, which blew my mind. I didn't even know they had that setup, which is very, very interesting. Um, so you know, so when you're thinking about this particular situation, one way to get around this, right? If you're needing to get money out, you just walk into the bank, say, "Hey, y'all's ATM is not working or whatever," and you're able to get your money out. No fouls, right? So it's there's a workaround. There's a disaster recovery in place when this type of situation comes around, right? But then I seen this story come out that really puts everything together. Let's listen to this.
In a significant cybersecurity incident, Vantage Point Credit Union in Hopewell, Virginia, has been hit by a ransomware attack, severely impacting customer access. The attack, linked to a breach at data processor Trellance, has left numerous customers unable to access accounts, use debit cards, or withdraw funds. This prolonged outage, affecting small credit unions nationwide, raises critical concerns for business owners and executives about cybersecurity preparedness and response strategies. The National Credit Union Administration is actively involved, ensuring affected institutions regain operational capabilities and meet liquidity needs during this challenging period.
Now, I want everybody to take a quick note, right? That they mentioned Trellis, they mentioned the same organization. However, we have gone, ladies and gentlemen, from being able to just have your ATM that's having a problem to now blocking customer access to accounts. You can't access your account at all. You can't go in and withdraw $300 so you can go to Walmart and buy your groceries or fix your sprinkler or your faucet or whatever the case is. So this really does escalate the entire thing. And this is what I want to pose to everybody. Like I said, these things are pretty short in stature for the most part, right? But I want you all to really think, right? There's what happens if your bank got hit with a ransomware, just took out your ATMs and or took out complete and total access to your actual financial institution, right? What would happen? What would you do? Most people would lose their mind, right? I mean, I know a lot of people would, right? You run up your credit cards, you can't pay your credit card because most of them are ACH deposited outside of your account. So, what other things do you have? A lot of people have always been saying, "Hey, you got cryptocurrency, you can use that." Well, the one thing you want to consider is if you're going to Walmart, Best Buy, um, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever the case is, you can't say, they don't say, "Hey, cash or credit or Bitcoin or Ethereum or USDC or whatever the case is," right? There's cryptocurrency is cool and all, and I know a lot of people use it for investing, and there's the other side of it where it's full and rampant with you know threat actors doing their stuff, kind of like OnlyFans. It is primarily for the but there are some legitimate people doing tennis lessons and stuff like that, but primarily it is for the no, all right. um but it is that situation, right? So if you can't use cash, because most places are not taking it, thankfully your local grocery stores, more times than not, correct me if I'm wrong, please, in the chat, but again, being in my own eco bubble down here in the South, you know, I know I can walk to any of our grocery stores and I can give them cash, right? So if I have a couple thousand as an emergency fund in case we can't get, you know, to the ATM. Not take cybersecurity incident out of the picture, even if it's, a hurricane or whatever the case is. That's very prominent down here into the southeast. So we're always used to having a little bit of cash to be able to, buy fuel, buy bread, buy milk, buy eggs, things of that nature to run our generators, feed the families, things of that nature. So, um, thank you, Emmanuel Dark, for saying all in New York City still take cash. That's good to see. That's good to see that there's, not just a Southern thing. Um, so what do you do? If you can't get cash and you don't have cash, you can't, cryptocurrency is not a widely accepted form of payment. Because if you ever dealt with cryptocurrency, while some of them do take only a few minutes, like the USDC coin that I mentioned a moment ago, takes under 5 minutes typically for that transaction to clear. But Bitcoin could take 60 minutes. When we had a case literally 2, 3 weeks ago, it took over 48 hours for that Bitcoin to actually clear. And we actually had to talk with the exchange brokers to get that done. And they had to resubmit with reprocessing fees and things like that. So while cryptocurrency is a very cool thing, it's not mainstream, it's not widely accepted because of some of these issues. So, what is your disaster recovery plan if you cannot get there? Is it to still have cash? All right. Is it to have what was mentioned a moment ago? I know the quote unquote ultra right wing. I'm not too far from you, but that will have silver coins. You know, those who are my age will probably remember the Buffalo nickel. It was kind of fad, but you know, there's you don't want we never want to get to a spot in our lives when we're trying to provide for our friends, our family, our employees off of the barter system, right? Lots of cities requiring cash if you want to do business with them. Yeah. Um, and this is, James Randolph, kind of pivot on that a little bit. Is it a point where we as a society say that if you're not accepting cash anymore, we're no longer doing business with you? You know, and last I've heard, cash is still an acceptable form of US currency. You know, there's been enough pushback. I even heard on the news today that your delivery services like Uber, Lyft, or not Lyft, but the delivery services for like Uber Eats and things of that nature, they are now not forcing, or they're going to either they're doing it or are about to do it, where they're not going to force you to put a tip in before delivery is made. They're not forcing that tip. So people speaking out can make a difference. I've been bashing on, you know, the President Biden's executive orders for years now. And we see time and time again where they're not following their own rules. And this is not to get political by any means, but we cannot depend on the government to save us. Ronald Reagan did say, the worst words you could ever hear is, "Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help." So I want to pose this out to you. We're at 20 minutes. We're definitely a lot longer than I anticipated this conversation to be. But I want to pose this out there. What is your disaster recovery? It does seem like in chat, most places do still accept cash, which is good. I do know there's a lot of places that are starting to go cashless. Do we as a society say, like I posed a moment ago, if your business is running cashless, we don't do business with you anymore. I don't buy my goods and services from your store. A little bit of a pivot, not quite in the same wheelhouse, but it kind of bears the truth that um, there are stores that are pulling out self checkout lines because of theft. Not, I know theft and this is a little bit different, but I want to make the point that the market does market the people will drive market. So when certain actions are taking place, you can drive the market. I've seen this in here a couple of times, so I'll go ahead. There you go. There you go. Definitely want to do the dolphin. Um, so we can drive change, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in the info security world, and I think I've said it, or I know I've said it several times before, but starting in your own group, in your own circles, and helping push changes like this to force back until they say the USD, your paper money is no longer accepted US currency, then we should force them to take it. But again, let me know what you think about what I think. What ideas do you have? I'm always open to new ideas because, I don't want to ever be beholden to one currency, right? Let's just say hypothetically, again, I live down here in the Southeast. And what if a hurricane came over and because of that, there was an electrical fire and now I've lost my currency? I've lost, the banks are down. My US currency is burnt up because of a house fire, because of an electrical issue, things of that nature. I always like to or always like to have three different sources to be able to take care of my family. And I think we should all be that way. Again, let me know what you think about what I think. Let me know what your ideas are because I'm very interested in them. But please be safe out there, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, this has been some food for thought. If you don't have something in place now, maybe you're starting to think about these type of things and be able to get your lives better prepared for the future. Who knows what it is? I know I'm not saying go build a bunker and live in it. All right. Until next time, take care.
There once was a kid whose passwords laid across all sites. They were the same, a criminal, then found their fame by taking that data to go.
Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.